All right, guys, it looks like we have an update on the Native Instruments situation. I want to thank Believe That Music for sending this information to me. I will say that they did send an email out before this public release asking the partners to basically be quiet. So I didn't even know this was in the public. I thought this was like secret information, but I did get wind of this. So now we can publicly talk about it. It's on Music Radar. I'll leave a link below. So for those who don't know, the music producer community is really questioning the future of Native Instruments. We don't know if they're going to be here, if they're going to disappear, if they're going to get bought out and just diluted to death. So that's the concern from, us as music producers. So what we're going to read, I haven't read this before. So we're going to read the public statement and I'll compare it to how they talked in private. Not that there's huge secrets or anything, but I just want to make sure there's a real transparent communication to the public and not some skewed information. Okay, so it's a lot to read, so bear with me, y'all. So it says, our determination to achieve a sustainable future is strengthened and energized by your support. Native Instruments releases update on insolvency proceedings. CEO Nick Williams writes that the company has seen strong interest from multiple parties with deep roots in audio and technology. Okay, so strong interest, meaning, well, I'm going to read on because I don't want to speak on anything I'm not allowed to speak on in the partner email, but this is public information. It's public now. When it was revealed in January that Native Instruments was involved in preliminary insolvency proceedings, it caused, forgive me, y'all, my bad, I'm waterless, y'all. It caused understandable concern among the company's base of users. As the developers of Machine, Contact, Reactor, and Tractor, Native Instruments is responsible for multiple product lines that musicians rely on day to day. It says, were support to be pulled for these, meaning all the products, Machine, Native Instruments, keyboards, software, okay, Contact. It says, were support to be pulled for these, it would have a major impact not only on the users, many who have also invested in system-specific hardware, but on third parties producing sample instruments designed to run within Contact's much used. I don't know why they worded it this way. I'm not here to critique, but they could have just said, hey, not only are users going to be affected, but the NKS partners. That's the simple sentence. They worded it like a Harvard scholar over here. Okay. It says, what's more, Native Instruments is the parent company of software brands Isotope. Now, the way they word this is if they founded these companies, they just acquired these companies. And to me, the Native Instruments acquisition was very aggressive. They were going after huge companies and multiple Contact library builders. It was very aggressive acquisition. So now we're seeing the effects of moving a little too fast from their core base. It says, what's more, Native Instruments is the parent company of software brands Isotope, Brainworks, and Plugin Alliance, whose plugins, particularly in the case of Isotope, are widely used by producers and audio professionals. Okay, so this is all fluffy talk. Sorry to the writer of Music Radar, but you're definitely pumping them up. Now, the company has released a statement from CEO Nick Williams providing an update on how proceedings are progressing. There's not much within the statement that we didn't already know, but it does appear to confirm a few things that were widely speculated upon. In it, Williams thanks Native Instruments users and partners for their support and reiterates that business continues as usual across Native Instruments, Isotope, Plugin Alliance, and Brainworks. Our products, platform, services, downloads, and customer service remain fully available. That doesn't mean anything. We've all seen, for example, Claude. People know about Claude now and ChatGPT. That stuff is going down randomly sometimes. So just because it works today doesn't mean it works tomorrow. So that statement doesn't really offer any confidence. And this is not a critique. I'm just speaking facts. The statement continues with an update on the mergers. Okay, so it says the statement continues with an update on the mergers and acquisition, the M&A process, confirming the widely assumed fact that a buyer is being sought for Native Instruments, either in whole or parts. So this was my assumption. I said basically, because they've saddled so much debt, to have a buyer is very unlikely, because when the buyer buys in, they have to then also settle debt. And I said what will probably happen, and again, I'm not a prophet, I don't know. What will probably happen is Native Instruments may lose employees because they're going to look for safety into other companies or start their own company. And you got to think, guys, if a company has that much debt, I think it's 300 million something in debt, if I'm not mistaken, and they, go to sell a company, again, you have to also acquire that debt service. So my point is, most people are saying that Native Instruments can just sell pieces to different companies like Apple, for example. Somebody posed that Native Instruments to sell their um, their contact platform to Apple or something like this. And I'm going, why? Here's my philosophy, y'all. And I'm trying to be short about it. If a company buys into another company, they're trying to buy the database, the connection with the customers. They're not worried about the product necessarily. They can rebuild the product if they really wanted to. They could rebuild the product. That's not the thing. They want to get the customers, okay? So when you acquire an asset like that, you're acquiring a customer base, not just the product. I'll just keep reading because I don't want to get too deep. We are currently in an active M&A process. So this is from the CEO, according to Music Radar. He says, we are currently in an active M&A process that is progressing well with strong interest from multiple parties with deep roots in audio and technology. So who else could that be? Who's bigger than Native Instruments? I mean, there's Music, there's Apple. Those are the only big dogs bigger than Native Instruments that I could think of. Sweetwater. I don't know about Avid. I'm not sure. I guess Avid technically is $1 billion company, but Avid may be the secret person potentially. I don't know. Because remember Avid got acquired by STG, and now they're like $1 billion company or something crazy. So who knows? Maybe Avid, because they partner with Splice, they have all these partnerships with these plugin developers. Who knows? Maybe. I'm just guessing. I have no idea. But because if they're saying deep roots in audio and technology, they're trying to offer confidence to the consumer to say, okay, the person who's buying us is not just some person who doesn't care about you. That's what he's trying to communicate to you. But I'm thinking logically, who could even be deeper roots than, and also deeper pockets than Native Instruments? I mean, there's only a few people bigger than Native Instruments that I know of. Music, Avid, Apple. Who else could potentially even remotely buy even parts of Native Instruments? I can't think of anybody. And Sweetwater, if I didn't already mention that. Or maybe it's some AI company. What if it's Suno? Who knows? Okay. So it says, Williams writes, and then it says, we see a clear path to achieve our goal to provide continuity for creators, consumers, and partners. Elsewhere, Williams writes that as part of the restructuring process, Native Instruments, GmbH, and a number of our German entities will shortly be moving through expected legal steps, including transitioning from preliminary insolvency into formal insolvency proceedings where applicable. Whoa. Okay, that's the bombshell of this. Whoa, I was not expecting that. So it basically says, like we said, and this is not wishing death on anybody, any company, anything, is that the odds of them not moving forward in that process are very slim. Finding a buyer who can take on that huge of a company, and that, you guys got to remember, in 2020, Native Instruments was like Napoleon, almost said Dynamite. What's the dude's actual name? Hold on. Napoleon Bonaparte. Okay, I don't know why I went blank there. Or like Caesar or somebody, it's just like they were on a conquest. It seemed like they were just like, the Soundwide project, then this company. It just seemed like too much. One, for me, I saw before Native Instruments even, went after Isotope and Plugin Alliance, I saw them offering a lot of their contact library creators on their actual website. So instead of making their own Native Instruments string library, they might have gone to, a Spitfire-like company. I'm not saying Spitfire, but a company analogous to Spitfire, and say, okay, can we, buy this product and sell it on our website? And then you would see the price go down 50%. So they're basically diluting their enemies. That's what it seemed like to me. That's the business battlefield to me. And they were offering it on their website. So I saw that happening a lot. I'm like, wow, Native Instruments keeps it like offering all these partner products and just diluting them. And then it turns out in 2020, around that time, then they started going after Isotope and then Plugin Alliance. And so it didn't look like Native Instruments acquired the companies. It looked like they all just teamed together. But I saw it because I saw the pattern of what they were doing behind the scenes, buying those sound libraries. And I said, okay, they're just acquiring companies at this point. So that to me was just very strange. I'm going to give you guys my honest feedback. It was very strange to see Native Instruments be that aggressive when it came to acquisitions. And again, like I said, I've gone to the Isotope headquarters in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and that thing was massive. I mean, the monthly bill had to be like near $250,000 just to pay rent in the building. And there were so many employees, like 200 to 500 employees in there. And to acquire that big of a company, I'm like, first of all, Isotope is very successful at what they do, and they target film for the most part. And I was like, why, how, first of all, I was like, how did Native Instruments acquire them? And then secondly, why? Like, what is the play here? So Anyway, that's just my thoughts and suggestions. Let's keep reading though, because this is a bomb of a statement. It says elsewhere, Williams writes that as part of the restructuring process, Native Instruments GmbH and a number of our German entities will shortly be moving through expected legal steps, including transitioning from preliminary insolvency into formal insolvency proceedings where applicable. So again, where applicable, kind of to my ears, it says, hey, to which asset buckets this applies to. Again, I assume, and I don't know the business structure, I'm flying blind like everybody else. You know, you have Isotope in its own container, let's say. You have Plug-in Alliance in its own container. You have Native Instruments in its own container. I'm sure they have Reactor in its own container. You have all these little containers that contain stuff, assets. Now, maybe this insolvency, because I think I read somewhere else that it didn't apply to their entire asset collection or something like that. I don't think it applied to Isotope and Plug-in Alliance. But regardless, maybe this proceeding is just for certain buckets of stuff. Okay, not every bucket, just certain buckets. I think I'm flying blind like everybody else. We can get more clarity as we read. It says the reference to German entities here appears to align with a comment made on Facebook in January by Plug-in Alliance General Manager Mo Valens, which stated that as of today, Plug-in Alliance entities are not part of the insolvency filing. Okay, so that answers my question. Plug-in Alliance entities, okay, their buckets of stuff are not involved in the insolvency filings. Our operations in Langenfeld and the U.S. remain outside these proceedings. So, wealthy people protect their assets. That's just what we'll say. Okay, there's too much to explain about that. Isotope is based in Boston. I thought it was Cambridge. Isn't it Cambridge? Let me see some. Okay, so that must have been a typo, because it definitely says Cambridge, and I've gone there and I was thinking to myself, oh, they're right down the street from MIT and Harvard and all that. I think it's in Cambridge, not Boston. But anyway, Isotope is based in Cambridge and operates as Native Instruments USA Inc. Read the statement from Native Instruments CEO Nick Williams in full below. So again, I don't know if this is the same email or if this is a different thing. So I'll just kind of read it. All right, y'all, bear with me. I want to share a direct update on the restructuring process underway here at Native Instruments. Business continues as usual across Native Instruments, Isotope, Plug-in Alliance, and Brainworks. Our products, platforms, services, downloads, and customer service remain fully available. The support we are receiving from our partners, artists, and community has been extraordinary. This loyalty isn't something we take for granted, and it's a reflection of what Native Instruments means to the people and the businesses we work with every day. At the end of January, I said, we are working diligently and responsibly to secure a healthy, financially sustainable future for Native Instruments. This remains true, and our determination to achieve a sustainable future is strengthened and energized by your support. We are currently in an active M&A process that is progressing well with strong interest from multiple parties with deep roots in audio and technology. We see a clear path to achieve our goal to provide continuity for creators, customers, and partners. As part of the restructuring process, Native Instruments GmbH and a number of German entities will shortly be moving through expected legal steps, including transitioning from preliminary insolvency into formal insolvency proceedings where applicable. These are expected steps in the process we are working through. What gives me confidence in our future isn't just the progress we're making. It's also the extraordinary passion, dedication of the entire team here at Native Instruments. We continue to deliver every day, building and shipping products and looking after our customers. We'll continue to share significant updates as we have them. So again, here's a couple critiques to this whole situation. And again, I'm not here to kick a dog while it's down or whatever the phrase is. The first thing is that why isn't the CEO on video telling the people? Why is it a printed thing that somebody could have just written? Some kind of PR agent could have written this. We don't even know. I've never seen the CEO, Nick Williams, not once, of Native Instruments. Is that a good thing, y'all? Do you think that's a good thing to never show your face as a CEO? Like, come on, man. I mean, look at Jensen. I forgot his whole name from NVIDIA. The guy is the face of the company. Jeff Bezos, we see him a lot. Mark Zuckerberg, we see him a ton. Elon Musk. Like, there's a reason these companies are huge. It's because they stand out and they take accountability in public. They don't hide behind text. It's just very ancient to write an article and be like, all right, this is my statement to the people. So I think, a lot of these CEOs in the audio space, you need to Like, show your face. This is the end of the era where we could just be these ghosts behind the scenes that just run these monopolistic companies. It just can't be like that anymore. Now, to the statement, it says, I want to share a direct update on the restructuring process. Personally, I don't believe the middle portion of this, which says, it says something about, let me just point out keywords that kind of, me as a marketer and a business person, it just didn't rub the right way. So it says, I want to share a direct update on the restructuring process. Okay, that's cool. It says business continues, but it doesn't talk about the future of business. It just says it continues today. We don't know about tomorrow. Maybe they don't know about tomorrow. I'd rather them be honest and upfront than trying to create this false, like, hey, everything's cool, guys. Don't worry about your native instrument stuff. Because, ultimately, in order to support these products, there has to be revenue. So if revenue is not keeping up with, the expenses, that you can't say, these employees are super happy to work here and super loyal when it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with just basics of how much money is the company making versus how much is it spending. That's, basics. And they're trying to create this thing like, our employees love you guys. They love serving you. This is no critique to Nick. I don't want to sound like I'm talking to Nick. I'm talking to just a mindset of people. And my thing is like, look, yeah, the employees can be cool to work here, but they can only work here as long as the money keeps flowing. So if the money's not flowing, they don't work here and they can't offer support. So what's a higher priority is getting the money up, not talking about how the employees are secure here. So I think that is just a statement to try to keep the employees from leaving. I don't think that's a true, maybe it is from their heart. I don't know. I can't tell you people's intent. I could just tell you how it comes off. So let me just go paragraph by paragraph and kind of break it down to, our level. And this is not wishing death on anything. I'm just looking at it like a regular music producer. It says, I want to share a direct update on the restructuring process underway here at Native Instruments. Firstly, the update doesn't really sound like an update. The only real news here is that you say you're in the M&A process, which is mergers and acquisitions, which means you're either going to merge with the company or they're going to acquire you. And if they acquire you, they're either going to do seller finance, they're going to do cash, or they're going to do, some kind of leverage buyout, which I doubt they're going to do because that's the company that bought you guys out before did a leverage buyout, from what I understand. So why would they risk it again and do the same mistake? I don't know. Again, I'm not in these boardrooms. So to me personally, I think what they're going to do is not go for some big sale of Native Instruments. I think Native Instruments is going to be broken into pieces, and those pieces are going to go to different companies, and the different companies are going to basically acquire it for nothing. And the way they're going to pay Native Instruments is by the sales of that thing. That's my guess. That's called seller financing or partial seller financing, where basically you can get an asset or a company for, let's say, nothing. Whenever you hear like no money down, okay, real estate, stuff like that, you're doing what's called seller financing, which means instead of offering the seller a bunch of cash, which people think when you sell a business, you just get this large lump sum of money. That's not how business works. There's a lot of conditions most of the time when businesses get bought out. Some of the payments don't even go through until there's certain benchmarks hit. So a lot of business, you could say, okay, let's make up a number. I'm not trying to give you guys a lot of information because I don't want to go off on tangents. Well, let's say, okay, Native Instruments sells for $500 million. Okay. Most people think they got a check for $500 million. That's not what happens. They may get a tenth of that, 50 million. Okay. But then the new company who bought them out will pay them back based on future revenue. Okay. So they're almost like, let's make this simple because it's sounding complicated. Let's say there's a house, for example. Okay. And the owner's never there, and it's just going dormant and there's nobody to really take care of it. So you say, okay, person, I know how to take care of a house. I know how to monetize this house. How about you let me control your house for free? And then the renter that I get into your house, I'm going to pay you 50% of all the rent that comes in. That's seller finance. They gave you control of an asset because you can make more money out of it and they can get paid on the back end. Okay. So that's the same thing in business. I know I'm like simplifying it, but that's basically the mindset of how this stuff works. So again, not all these companies are getting some huge lump sum. And like I said, they still owe the large lump, the debt obligations. Okay. So that's not just magically going away. They have to still owe that, which means whoever acquires this or whoever merges with them still has to talk to and report to that original lender. Okay. And like I said before, the lender is really serious about their money because they sent in a person to go make sure their money is going to be gotten. Okay. So that's what that person was. I forgot that person's name. All right. So I know I'm not like structured, but this is a freestyle reaction. I want to show you guys, we have an update, but is it really an update? I think the only thing here is just basically saying they have interested buyers, whatever that means. And again, buyers to the average person, you guys think they're going to get handed some huge check. It doesn't mean that all the time. It could just mean that they're forfeiting their company over to a competitor, and the competitor will pay them a small amount over time. So it doesn't mean that they're just going to be in the positive, if that makes sense. Okay, so I want to share a direct update restructuring process. Okay, business continues as usual. All right, then it says the support we are receiving from our partners, artists, and community has been extraordinary. What does support mean? Does that mean talk support or does it mean money support? Because in this case, we need money support, not just talk and who's loyal. That doesn't mean anything in this equation, because that's not the problem is disloyalty. The problem is spending more than earning. It says this loyalty isn't something we take for granted, and it's a reflection of what Native Instruments means to the people and businesses we work with every day. Again, that's cute to say, but again, that's not the issue. At the end of January, I said we are working diligently and responsibly to secure a healthy, financial, sustainable future for Native Instruments. Okay, this remains true, and our determination to achieve a sustainable future is strengthened and energized by your support. Usually when you're talking about sustainable, you are talking about some big venture capital coming in and they give you a large lump sum up front because they're just looking for a small return on investment. So let's say this. We as commoners, we think, okay, I need to make a company. The company needs to make $100 million a year. Venture capitalist says, I'm going to deploy $100 million a year. I just need 10% every year, which is what, 10 million every year. Okay. So it's a different mindset, and that's how money kind of flows. I know I'm generalizing and being very short about my explanation here, but the reason companies can sell for 10x, 5x multiple is because the person who's giving the 5x amount of money is just looking for a small return on investment. Whereas us as normal people, we're trying to take $1 into 1,000. That's like 10,000% growth. Whereas a company who's like a venture capitalist, they only need 5 to 10% return because it's greater than other options they have, like bonds and different things like that. So my point is they're not looking for this astronomical return on investment. So they're willing to give a larger capital base over to a different company. And that's how you see these companies getting billions in funding. Again, personally speaking, I don't know all the venture capitalist firms out there. I don't know all the private equity out there. I don't know. However, when they say that whoever's interested is so deeply rooted in audio and technology, it says technology. It doesn't just say audio. It says audio and technology. So, personally, I'm thinking who has deeper pockets than Avid, Apple, Sweetwater, or Suno even. Okay, it's like it has to be probably an AI company. So what if an AI company takes over Native Instruments products? What would you guys do if you started generating sounds right inside your keyboard? Would you revolt or would you just embrace it? I'm making up theory. This is all made up conjecture. I have no idea what's going on. But, this statement kind of sends a yellow flag to me because it's hard to believe. It's just hard to believe, and at the end of the day, whoever acquires it still has to sell a ton of Native Instrument stuff. So whoever grabs this thing, you still have to sell stuff. And what has Native Instruments done that is so groundbreaking in the last 10 years? Just ask yourselves, their main thing back in the day was Complete. When that first hit the streets, it was crazy. Everybody went crazy. Then it was the Machine. And then, you had great employees behind the scenes like Ultra West, I think, worked with Native Instruments. His era made the Machine cool. And then Machine just kind of took a left turn. And it's like, what is Native Instruments at this point? I don't know. Maybe it's more of a worldwide brand or something. But what is the thing that keeps Native Instruments in you guys' mind? Let's leave that link below. Or let's leave that comment below. What am I saying? That link below. I'll leave a link below to this article. That's just my freestyle thoughts. I'm not here to bash on the company. It's just, as a music producer, hearing this doesn't really, it seems like false confidence to me. That's how it seems. That's how it's coming off. And again, I'm not here to hurt any company. I'm not here to wish death on any company. I'm not here to see anybody go down. We want to see that. That's why after my video I made before, I made like 3 Native Instruments videos showing you guys contact libraries because I like the products. I'm just trying to understand, how can they 10x revenue? what is the 10x revenue lever that they have at Native Instruments? You can't keep acquiring companies because this is what got Native Instruments in the hot water. So if they can't acquire companies to get more revenue, what is the thing that's going to lever their revenue up 10x? Like, I just don't see it. And I'm not trying to be negative. I just don't see the thing that says, okay, if Native Instruments just does this, you're going to get 10 times more people interested in the products. That's the part where I'm a little confused. So maybe there's just some deeper level financial stuff that they can magically work out behind the scenes. But guys, Native Instruments is not a government. Okay. So it's not like they're going to get bailed out by some government institution. This is just a company at the end of the day. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts, freestyle thoughts, unfiltered thoughts. I'm Game from busyworksbeats.com. Don't hate me. Don't consider me an enemy. I just am giving the real point of view. All right, y'all. Peace.